Hextall are at center ice. You can roll for initiative as we are underway. Hextall wins the draw back to Morin, to Wilson, and then up to Jardine to backhand into the CRN. Mentz back for it, took a bump from Hextall, who took it away and then threw it off the back of the cage. It bounced over to Young. He'll carry up the far side. Young to the red line ahead off of Ogren and rolling to the right wing corner. Grabbed by Young again and sent around the wall to the near side, taken by Hextall, who got run into. Up ahead for McKinnon, wearing a full bubble after taking a high stick yesterday. Chipped both of his front teeth. Gnarly looking video if you check out the Phantoms and the USHL social media. As Wilson brings it ahead up to the CR line for Jardine. Into the zone 1-on-3, turned his back to Cornelius and waited for help, but then the puck rolled into the corner. McKinnon was down there for it, came back to Jardine up the wall looking for Thompson. Braden holds the line for a moment, chipped back down low before it rolled the zone, turned the puck over to Wilson. Then Boucher knocked out to center and knocked out Grant Young for good measure. Scuderi with it again. He will turn and dump it deep and head for a line change. Nikitin over to the left corner, spun up to center by Morin. He found Hextall. His cross-ice pass shut off by Ogren. CR back into the zone. Ogren across into the slot for a shot by Young. That went wide. Rebound to Hextall. Sends it down the ice. No icing here as Mentz will play it in the left circle of his own end. Pitchforks it around over to Carson Young. And nobody from Cedar Rapids or anybody got a stick. And Hextall won that draw cleanly back to Thompson. Left it for Murphy. He'll backhand it down into the corner. Rolled behind the cage. First one touching it was Carson Young, the defenseman. Back up the wall, taken by Murphy. Side of the cage. Jardine tried to drop it back to the point looking for Hextall. That pass was stolen by Ogren and sent down into the Youngstown end, but he couldn't find Romeo slipping through. Clearing pass by the Phantoms, stolen by Young. Back down into the corner for Ogren. Played into the slot, but Jardine is there. Skate to stick, and then ahead for McKinnon. Through the neutral zone, and then over to Jardine with a step. Jardine to the backhand. Cameron with the save. Rebound. Brusinski was behind the defense. Just redirected at the last moment. And we're back to 5 aside as Jack Hamilton's out of the box. Morin send it around the wall to Bukowski. Matty to the red line, and now McKinnon into the zone. Behind him to Morin. Fit it through the low slot, looking for the touch by Bukowski. It wouldn't go. Hextall kept the left point. Down the wall to McKinnon. Spinorama, but is going to lose the puck. Grabbed by Scuderi and skated ahead. Poke checked away from behind by McKinnon. Puck pinballing around the neutral zone. Grabbed again by Scuderi and dumped in. Nikitin behind the cage will send it far corner. Went past Wilson, rode the dasher, bumped out to center by McKinnon. 2-on-1 developing. Jardine and Hextall. Jardine down the left side. Toe drag. Tried the pass for Hextall. McKinnon. Score! Here's Cameron plays it. Minor up the near wall. Found Graff. And then touch back to Fox. Played into the zone off the glove of Hamilton. He's able to play it back out to center. Sent right back in by Mentz. Phantoms carry right back out to neutral. Wilson across to Jardine. Jardine turns on the Jets. Unable to get the shot away. Tried the wraparound and came to Hextall in the slot. It wouldn't go. McKinnon turned and fired. His shot was blocked. Rebound over to the far wall. Poked up by the wall by Cornelius. Hextall couldn't keep it in the zone. Found it at center. Played it back to Hamilton. Near side for Wilson, who rips it into the CRN. Cameron around the wall, grabbed by Jardine, ushered to the point for Hamilton. D over to Wilson. Eyes the cage, faked the shot, now cuts center point. Wilson turned, fired, blocked in front. Don't know if it ever got into Cameron. Might have hit McKinnon in the back as CR plays it ahead. Coming into the zone is Graff. Behind him, it came to Ogren, but his shot, kind of a shot pass, cut off by Nikitin. The loose puck came to Hextall. Floats it down into the CR to Jardine and into the zone for Hextall. Hextall, a little start stop, got past Mentz, who then recovered and took the puck away, got it to Davis to carry to center. Had to duck around his own man, now drop back for Minor. D over to Cornelius. Cornelius ahead. Into the neutral zone, bumped down by Jardine. The puck came back into the CRN, and another call upcoming on Youngstown. Romeo dropped it back to Minor. And offside. Pams are back to full strength as the puck rolls to Hamilton. D to D to Wilson. Jack looking for an option, gains the red line, fires it in. Nice hand-eye behind the cage by Cameron to stop that bouncing puck. Sending it around the wall, came to Ernst. Drop back to Emmons, off of Simon and into the zone for Bosco. Left wall, he's bodied up by Hamilton with 1:45 left in the first. Ernst got the loose puck, sent it in front, but the only one there was McKinnon. Lifted it out to center. Pass wouldn't go to Jardine, but played ahead, grabbed by Hamilton, who turned it over to Simon. Back into the zone they come. Down the left side, he'll chip it behind the cage. Hamilton, the first one there, send it around the wall to Jardine. Across to Wilson, still in their own zone. Out to center for Hextall. Bumped from behind by Simmons, and the pass for McKinnon would not go as it rolled to Mintz. Over to Simmons and to Westerling, redirected it into the Youngstown end. McKeaton fires around the kick plate. Welcome back inside the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex. Second period already underway as Wilson plays it over to Morin in their own zone. Out to center, they were looking for Hextall. Pass came through to Mentz. Chipped it over to Davis. In ahead to the red line for Grant Young. Dropped it off to an oncoming Simmons from the defensive position. Carried it down low, bumped off the puck by Morin. Fed around the wall by the Phantoms. Jardine banked it ahead to Hextall. Hextall into the zone with McKinnon. 2-on-1, tried to pass across, and it hit the stick of the Cedar Rapids defender. And McKinnon unsuccessful on at least that bid for the hat. Around left side now, Scuderi. Played it out to center, but couldn't find Graff. It's grabbed by Murphy and brought back into the zone by Jardine. Chip behind the cage. McKinnon is the first one to it. Left it side of the net for Hextall. Hextall, top of the left circle, sends it right point for Thompson. Back center point for Hextall, then back to Thompson. His shot kicked out by Cameron. They're trying to bank it in. That was McKinnon. It wouldn't go. Back up to the point for Thompson. Eyes the net, shot away, hit bodies in front. Came to Hextall, passed across, but settled down for Fox. Able to play it out to center for Scuderi. From his knees, he's able to get it into the Youngstown end, but it bounced to Hextall. Back out to the red line for Jardine. Touch it behind him. Back to Hextall. Peeled back to the blue line and then across far side for Thompson. Into the zone, was looking for Murphy. It didn't go as it bounced over to Grant Young. He'll take the bump from Jardine. Chipped the puck past McKinnon and found Romeo at center. Romeo lost the puck as he battled with Thompson. Loose puck picked up by Young for a shot on the cage from the right half. That is blocked off by Nikitin. Now Young with the steal. Fed it in front and it's redirected wide by Romeo. Young to the rebound, up to the right point for Mentz. Riders buzzing right now. Mentz, the defenseman, fed it in front. Hit a skate and at the intermission. As the Youngstown wins the neutral zone draw. Murphy to Hextall. Fired to the left wing corner. Cedar Rapids defense turned it over. McKinnon, sharp angle shot. He missed the cage off the corner boards. Kept by Murphy. Worked it down the wall to Hextall. Hopped over his stick. Came to Simmons. Fed behind the cage for Siamos. Up the middle, but out to center. Trying to find Romeo, but it came to Morin. Touched ahead to Hextall, who had it taken away from behind by Young. And now Young with it. Into the zone. Over to Romeo. Fed it into the blue paint where Carter Murphy is there to keep it out of the cage. Davis stole it from Hextall. Worked it over to Siamos. Down the wall. His shot off the skates of Morin as Hextall played it to the near wall. Got tripped, probably need, but no penalty coming. Jardine in the zone, 2-on-2. Has McKinnon behind him to Murphy. Carter waits for help. Across over to Morin. Morin eyes the cage. Shot. Hit bodies in front. I think the puck is underneath McKinnon right now. And the whistle blows. And fired into the zone. Cameron spun it to the left corner for Mentz. Took the body of Hextall and able to stay upright and keep control of the puck. Up the wall to Fox. Turned it over to McKinnon. McKinnon on his backhand, tried to drop it to the point, but that is stolen by the oncoming Graff, who got it through center to Simon. Into the zone, fed across, pass was behind Mentz, grabbed by Simpson. Cooper bringing it ahead, toe drag, but couldn't get around his man. That was Siamos. Back into the Youngstown zone we go. Simon back to the point for Graff. Shot, shoulder save by Nikitin. Rebound to Fox below the goal line. He'll come near side. Up to the point for Siamos. D to D over to Simmons. Down low, Westerling, shot, glove save Nikitin, rebound, save Nikitin, it's against his pads and he covers. The faceoff is won by Hextall to Adams. Takes down Graff in the corner, puck still available. Grabbed by Hextall, being watched by Fox, fed it through the legs of Murphy, but it made its way to McKinnon. Open ice for Hextall. Into the zone right side, his shot was blocked by Simmons, loose change picked up by Fox, carried to the line, banked past Jardine, knocked ahead by Graff, but it rolled to Murphy. Pass ahead grabbed by McKinnon and carried into the zone. To Hextall, spins away from Ogren. Hextall to Adams, fanned on the shot, couldn't regather, and Fox will bump it behind him to Ogren. Delays, fed ahead, knocked away by Hextall. Siamos held the line, got it to Ogren. Between the circles, shot blocked by Murphy. Out to the left point, kept by Grant Young. Fed down low, stolen by Hextall. Found McKinnon in the middle of the ice. Dropped it behind him to Murphy, who spins it out to center. Grabbed by Siamos and fired right back in. Trickled on the cage, gloved to the line. And then spun ahead from the red by McKinnon into the CR zone. Phantoms trying to get a line out on the power play for Youngstown. As Westerling wins the draw, Mentz carries it over to the wall and just gets it across the blue line. McKinnon couldn't hold the zone. Dropped it behind him to Rusinski. Rue danced past Westerling, carried into the CR end. Over to the wall, he found Hextall, chipped past him and down the ice. McKinnon hustled back for it to keep it away from Westerling. McKinnon around the cage in the near side, carries ahead. Dropped it back to Simpson. Cooper into the zone, but forced out to center. Charging ahead is Grant Young. Young being defended by McKinnon. Trying to draw a slashing call there as McKinnon grabbed it in the corner, stretched it out ahead looking for Rusinski, and this will be icing on the Phantoms with 6. Hextall won it cleanly back to the point to Hamilton. Walks the blue line, defended by Ogren. Banked it down to Hextall in the right corner. Taken away by Ernst, he'll carry up that near wall. Ran back into Hextall, but able to work it out to center for Ogren. Played over to Huff. Gains the red line, sends it into the Youngstown end. Rolled behind the cage, Vini the first one to touch it. Worked it away from Graff to Hamilton and now McKinnon. McKinnon fired it to the right wing corner. Off the Cornelia, came to Jardine, shot, save, rebound. Bouncing around to Jardine on the weak side, fired it again and he missed the cage. Out to the right point for Thompson, held the line. Backhanded it down low, bounced over the stick of Hextall. Came around to the left side. Huff wedged off McKinnon, back to the half wall. Puck just not settling down for anybody at the moment as Jardine has it in its skates. Taken away. Face-off controlled by Cedar Rapids. Davis brought it into the zone, but taken away by McKinnon and Vini. Up the wall to Murphy, popped up in the air. Westerling kept it alive and played it behind the cage. Musa worked it up the wall, came to Emmons at the left point. D over to Siamos. Flicked it down low, found Musa, right corner. Spun away from Jardine, got it over to Davis, bumped off the puck, it came to Hextall. Jack through center, found Murphy at the red line and chipped it to the right wing corner. First one to it is Emmons, left it for Siamos, played it away from Hextall around to the left side. Grabbed by Davis, up to center, off of Emmons and down into the Youngstown end where it's grabbed by Thompson for the Phantoms. Thompson, D to Morin, retreating back into his own end. Gave it back to Thompson, out to Jardine at center. Denied entry by Graff. They'll battle for it at the red line. Jardine. Hextall won the draw off of Jardine to Thompson. Fired a low shot, hit bodies in the slot and went wide. Morin got to the rebound, feathered over to the right corner for McKinnon. Up to the half wall off of Simon, but back to McKinnon down low. Tried to feed Thompson, but taken away by Simon and out to center. Bosco fed it into the Youngstown end where it's picked up by Thompson. Nice move to get away from Westerling. Carries to the red line and now flicks it to the left corner of the CR end. Emmons bumped off the puck by Hextall. Another stick loose on the play. That belonged to Siamos. Puck up to the point, kept by McKinnon, sent near wall, but Simon got there first and played it to center. McKinnon fired it back in, but the Phantoms are offside. Now they touch up, and it comes around to the far wall. Jardine tried to touch it to Hextall. He was tangled up with a man. Westerling poked it to the line. Bosco sent it to center. No icing here as this one squirts down to the Youngstown end. Wilson quickly up to give him time and space to get off the window, not the center. Grabbed by Mentz, D to Minor, and now Scuderi ricochets it into the zone. Grabbed by Ernst, centering feed, but to the stick of Jack Hextall. Hextall ahead. Into the zone, crisscross, left it for McKinnon. McKinnon, a shot off of Hextall, came to the mouth of the blue paint, and Phantoms couldn't touch it home. Line was kept by Hamilton. He'll feed it down low, came to the side of the net. Jardine looking for it. Grabbed for a moment by McKinnon, but the puck rolled to Scuderi, who played it ahead. Chipped down the ice, Nikitin out to play it away from... Puck's won that draw over the wall, but it's picked up by Hamilton. And backhanded to McKinnon. Malachi knocked down from behind by Fox. Play continues. Siamos in his own zone. D over to Emmons. Up to the line, played into the Phantoms end by Davis. Wilson hustling back for it for Youngstown. Forecheck pressure by Romeo. He lost the puck, but nice recovery by Jardine to poke it out of danger, at least for a moment. Puck over to the right half, shot on the cage from Siamos, kicked out by Nikitin. Now another shot that missed the cage. Around to the near side now, Davis with it, trying to cut to the middle, couldn't get a shot away. Still with it now, Davis around the net, throws some snow as he stops, and then up to Romeo now, Westerling left half. Behind the cage for Davis, watched by Vini, taken to the boards. Puck came free, Cedar Rapids still with it. Siamos, right point, back down the wall, ushered behind the cage by Romeo to Davis. Banked up to the left point for Emmons. Flicked back down to Davis in the corner, up to the half wall, now back to Emmons. D over to Siamos. Flicked it to the side of the cage, and Nikitin just going to ice the puck. 5:25 left in the third. Phantoms now trail 3-2. Vini gained the red line, fired it in. Cameron stopped it up and sent it over to Minor, then up the wall to Ogren. To Ernst, then back to Ogren at center. Skate to stick, he'll bring it into the zone. Fired around the kick plate, picked up on the near wall by Vini, poked it past Scuderi, out to center for Jardine, and then McKinnon. Chip to the left corner, Corneli got there ahead of Hextall and sent it around to the right side, but it's grabbed by Jardine. Back to Murphy for a shot blocked by a diving Scuderi. Rebound to Minor, hit the glove of Jardine and did make it out to center. Murphy back to Jardine as Minor. Deep, Youngstown going to start a line change. Mentz behind his goal for it, played it near corner for Minor, out to center for Simon. His pass ahead hit Hextall, and then Fox ricocheted to the Phantoms line for Graff. Tried to get it to Simon, played away by Orlowski and out to center, trying to catch up to it Hextall, but edged off by Emmons. Back to the Phantoms line, into the zone comes Simon. Down the left corner, picked up by Fox, leaned on by Morin, sent it to the point, but split the defenseman, and Siamos will pick it up at the red line. Back to the Phantoms blue. It's redirected into the zone for Graff in the right corner while the Riders change up the defense. Picked up by Musa, watched by Wilson. Fed right point for Siamos. Left point now Emmons. He'll fire it intentionally wide and will ricochet over to Graff in the right corner. Off the skate of Westerling, Graff picks it up once more, bouncing around into the circle for Musa. His shot was blocked by Wilson. He regathered and fed the right point for Siamos. His shot stopped by Nikitin, rebound grabbed by Wilson. Jack up to the line. McKinnon got it out to center. Jardine looking for it in his skates. 90 seconds left in regulation. Over to McKinnon, gains the red line, hesitates and brings it into the zone. Doesn't have any help, kind of got pinned against the wall, so he carried back to center. He'll drop it back to Hextall, now back to McKinnon. Fake the pass and starts to carry ahead. McKinnon into the zone, got through one stick check, still with the puck, feeds it over to Wilson. Jack starts stop, got through a man, got the shot away. Don't know if it was blocked or if Cameron made a save there, but the puck trickled harmlessly to the end wall. McKinnon and Wilson quickly to the bench. Hextall still out here as Corneli carries ahead. Huff will head to the bench for Cedar Rapids as well. Defensive Carson Young, who will now go over to the bench. Mentz will jump on. Banked ahead, looking for Bukowski. Matty, toe drag shot was blocked off the corner boards. Morin hustles over for it to keep it away from Musa. Backhanded back to Bukowski at the red line. Sent to open ice near side for Morin. 30 seconds left in overtime. Morin throws on the brakes. Bukowski heads to the bench. McKinnon back into his own end for it. Murphy is on, as is Hextall. McKinnon, 15 seconds left in overtime. Into the zone, but Ogren to take the draw. And he won the draw. Westerling dropped it back for Huff. Being forechecked by Hextall. 5 seconds left in overtime. Westerling into the zone. Shot, missed the cage. Folks, we're going to a shootout.